Thank you so much. It is my pleasure to be here today and to be speaking to all of you. So, as he just mentioned, I am Nudrat Piracha, and I am the first woman from Pakistan to have a SJD degree, which is a Doctorate in Juridical Sciences. According to my knowledge, there are 4 people in Pakistan holding a SJD degree, but I am the only Pakistani having a degree in international and investment arbitrations, SJD in international and investment arbitrations. So I would first of all give you a bit of my background leading up to my applying for the Fulbright scholarship. I would give you a sense of the program specifics and my graduate and Fulbright experience in the US. So starting from my background, when I applied for Fulbright, I was a partner at the law firm Samdani and Qureshi. And at that time, the last project I was working on was representing the government of Pakistan in a $600 million claim before the International Center for Settlement of Investment Disputes. I was the country representative for South Asian Forum for International Arbitrations, the country reporter for international transnational arbitration. I was the only woman in the field having the kind of experience that I had at that time. I was the first and only solicitor advocate in UK from Pakistan. I was the first fellow of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators in UK. And amongst my professional enrollments was I was registered as a lawyer, as an advocate of the lower courts in 2003 and then the Pakistani High Court in 2005. I enrolled as a solicitor of UK in 2006, and then I became a solicitor advocate, which is a combination of a solicitor and a barrister rolled in one. That was in 2014. In terms of my work experience, I had since 2002 till 2005 when I got the Fulbright scholarship. I worked at the law firm Samdani and Qureshi. I had also worked at the Infrastructure Project Development Facility, that is a Ministry of Finance organization called IPDF. I had also worked at the National Tariff Commission, which is Ministry of Finance, Government of Pakistan. In terms of my academic background, I had done my LLB from Pakistan because I intended to practice in Pakistan. But for my LLM, I went to London School of Economics in 2005. And amongst my academic degrees, I had a mix of a wide array of subjects that I studied. So I had studied economics and statistics, for instance, in my BA, where I got a Roll of Honor. I had done pre-engineering, studying chemistry, physics, maths, calculus. I was in my year, I was second in the board. From there, I went for law to Punjab University, Punjab Law College, which was affiliated with Punjab University. So when I applied to the Fulbright, that was the background that I had. So my issue was that the area of law I was in and the kind of practice I was doing for a SJD, I would not be able to find a supervisor in Pakistan. I applied to Fulbright because US was a lot more advanced in investment arbitrations and arbitrations generally as compared to some of the other countries. What I noticed in the application process was I felt there was a need for there to be a sync between what you have been doing in the past and what you wanted to do. And I think I had that advantage. Everything that I had studied, everything that I had done till that point was in incredible sync with what I wanted to do, which was to revolutionize the legal system of Pakistan and institutionalize alternative dispute resolution in Pakistan. So in terms of the GRE score, I think that was the biggest hurdle for me because I was a full-time working lawyer. with working on international arbitrations, constantly traveling, even at the time of applying for the Fulbright scholarship. So I didn't get a lot of time to prepare for my GRE. I think I got 302 or 304, so I barely made it on the GRE. Good references, I thought, made a big difference. I was able to get some references from some of the co-counsels I had worked with in US, in UK, some of my teachers in UK at LSE. They gave me a letter of reference, which made a lot of difference. The personal statement, I would advise all of those who apply for Fulbright, you need to keep the personal statement very genuine. I think that is something that people are able to see. So the personal statement, the more genuine it is, I think the better chance you have of getting selected. And what I generally felt Fulbright is looking for is not just leaders. I mean, they are looking for people who have fire in their bellies, people who really, really want to do something. And I think that came across in my application, that I was very passionate about wanting to do something for my country. For my year, I was informed that there were about 15 scholarships that were given for PhDs, and there was one scholarship given for SJD. Now, SJD is a very, very specialized degree, and I would say there are not many people in the world having this degree. It's not that it does not have utility, but it is incredibly difficult to get into a SJD program in the US. You need to have impeccable academic records. Then there are very few universities in US who are offering an SJD program. Out of those universities that do offer SJD, they would take only 1 to 3 students a year, and 3 is the maximum. For my year, GW took only 1 student, that was me. I think the most difficult part of getting into the SJD program was the criteria that the US universities have, which is the first preference is for students who are coming from the same university, their own graduates. The second preference is graduates of US universities. And the third preference is for anyone else in the world, which technically means that people from Pakistan would be competing from people from UK, for instance, which makes it incredibly difficult to get into the good universities. With GW in particular, the criteria was quite rigorous. They asked from us a 40-page concept paper. So most of the universities would ask you for 5 pages, 6 pages, but 40 pages meant that you really needed to know what your direction is going to be, what you are going to be writing about. They wanted from you the kind of clarity which I feel is quite unusual to have at that point of your application. Now, GW was, for its international program, it was, I think, ranked number 6. And I was told by everyone that I talked to about the SJD program that what matters at the end of the day is the supervisor you get. So everyone told me that people are not going to remember the university you went to, but everyone in your life will want to know who your supervisor was. So that was my point of focus, finding the right supervisor who is well established in the field of investment arbitrations and international law. So once I got the scholarship, when I went to US, the first difficulty I had, which was my mistake entirely, was that I left the accommodation till too late. I was informed by some of my friends that the apartments and the rooms do not in reality look like what you see on the computer screen. And by that time, I was used to traveling, and I thought, how hard could it be just going somewhere and trying to find a place to live? So for SJD students, there is no accommodation on the campus. When I got there, I discovered that most of the places were already taken. It was that time of the year. The students were flowing into DC, and it was incredibly difficult to find a place to live. So I put up at a hotel for about 2 weeks, and then the Fulbright community took over. I moved in with one of my friends for about 3 weeks till I was able to get an apartment. So the Fulbright community was extremely helpful in helping me find a place. The food was not an issue because there are a lot of halal places in DC, but I decided that it would be better to just start cooking myself because still it's food can become expensive. You can't dine out every week. So finding halal meat and food, sometimes one would have to travel about 40 minutes or so to get to a halal meat shop. So insurance was another area I struggled with because the way GW decides, George Washington decides on insurance is the credits that the student has. So you must have credits for a semester to be able to enroll into the student insurance. And for SJD, all I needed was 8 credits. So those 8 credits I was able to complete in 3 months. Now, after 3 months, technically, I had no credits to show, which meant getting the insurance was a big issue. But again, Fulbright helped me with that. So they were able to arrange for me insurance, which covered both medical and dental. Another area of concern was the books, because the law books were really expensive. And even if one was to rent the books, it still was quite expensive. So Fulbright offered me some extra stipend to get those books, which was extremely helpful. During the SJD, I think the biggest challenge and struggle that most of the PhD and SJD students face is the friends, because you don't really belong in any of the circles. You're not a LLM. The LLMs have their classes together. It's easy to make friends in those classes. The JDs would have their own friends and own circles. But as a SJD, you are taking only 8 credits and you're not really belonging in any of those circles. But again, I think I was quite lucky in the sense that there was this huge network of the Fulbrighters. Then being at GW, one of the opportunities that I got was I did an externship at the International Center for Settlement of Investment Disputes. I was the first Pakistani to get that externship and serve as a scholar in residence at ICSID. I had friends from ICSID. I made friends from the building. So there were then Pakistanis in the community. There were Pakistanis amongst the Fulbrighters. So I did have a big network of friends. So I did not struggle on that front. But I know many of the people who did their PhDs, that was the biggest struggle for most of them. So in terms of the academic requirements, the academic requirement I did not find very difficult either, because all you really had to do was write 150 pages and you had 5 years to do that, which I thought was incredible. I had left from the law firm where I was having to write at a minimum 350 to 400 pages just in 3 months, covering the legal, the facts, the quantum. For me to write just the legal part of things, 150 pages, and that too in 4 to 5 years. That's pretty much sounded like a holiday to me. So I ended up writing about 1,300 pages, and I am publishing my dissertation with Kluwer International. So my book is due this June. It will be published. amongst the experiences and the criteria of SJD at GW, one of the things I think that is again a struggle for many people is the supervisors and the ability to get a prompt response from your committee. I again think I was incredibly lucky in that, because George Washington and all the staff, many times it felt that they hugely invested in my success. They assigned to me the best people they had. I ended up with a very intimidating committee. These were people who were giants in the field, which of course was intimidating. The best in the field are looking at your work. There were, of course, times where you had to wait for a response, because these were incredibly successful and incredibly busy people. But one of my supervisors, he went through my dissertation, all 1,300 pages, page by page, editing every line. And it was incredible. The amount of support I got from GW, Fulbright, and people at George Washington was an absolutely beautiful experience. I found the atmosphere quite relaxed, friendly, and it was very respectful. And as I say, if I was to describe that experience, it really felt as if people were really invested in my success. So at George Washington, I think another exceptional thing was the learning opportunities that one had. There were so many things. If someone really wanted to learn, the subjects that they offered and things of interest that are not even taught in Pakistan. And teachers were quite liberal about letting you attend their classes. There was a very vibrant student life, lots of events happening. There was a mosque which was really nearby, about 3-4 minutes walk. I used most of my time, spare time, because I did find myself with quite a bit of spare time. I used that to build on my skills, mostly my alternative dispute resolution skills, again, skills that I would not be able to build in Pakistan. I participated in peer reviews for journal articles. I took different initiatives to keep myself busy. Then at George Washington, it is very close to the Capitol Hill. So we had all these politicians, flying politicians coming to GW and speaking to us about various political topics, various things of interest during the election season. So it was an incredible experience seeing all these people on the television one night and to know the next week that they are one of the speakers at George Washington. I did participate in a lot of seminars. Most of them for students were rather cheap. Some of the seminars were paid by Fulbright. And during my time, they did have, I think, about 2 seminars that you could attend as SJD. I think they changed it later on, but initially there were 2 to 3 seminars that you could attend in a year. The whole experience, I think the most enjoyable thing that I found in the whole experience was the opportunity to meet people. I made it a point to make friends not only with Pakistanis, because one needs to remember who he is, but I did make friends with people who don't look like me. I made sure of that. And there was immense opportunity as a professional to make these networks and interact with all these wonderful people who would fly into DC and people who were in DC, quite accomplished in their fields, and they were quite open to meeting and to being part of your network. So I did spend a lot of time doing things which related to the Pakistani community or Pakistan, like there was this Equality in Pakistan seminar that I attended. So many people would come to DC from Pakistan. So there were quite a few events there to attend. We got free tickets as Fulbrighters to theaters, which was a wonderful experience. I participated in cooking for the submarine veterans with one of my friends. So that was a very unique experience. They got to taste some Pakistani food, and I got a taste of their culture. I attended the Eid memorial that happened in those days, the solidarity against the Lahore attacks against Christians. As a Fulbrighter, there was immense opportunity to attend various events. For instance, we did there was this seminar about familiarizing yourself with the election system in US. So we got the opportunity to not only learn about that, we volunteered in planting, we volunteered for cleaning the lake, and wrapping up presents for children near Christmas. I created a DC wish list group, which helped me bring all the Fulbrighters together. And the concept was that all of us have come to DC with a wish list and things that we want to do. So the idea was that all of us get together and we participate in various activities, help each other fulfill the wish lists that we have. So there were a lot of events that we organized, as you can see from this picture, what we were up to. We did organize various iftar parties. We organized cinema nights. We organized trips to the farm, cheese parties, which was a very French thing. We organized birthday parties and farewells. We organized snow fights, the Pakistani and Afghan cuisine nights. I went ice skating, something I had not done in Pakistan. We participated in marathons. We went hiking and biking. Then there were pure Masti nights where we went for theaters, musicals, seminars, and as friends, we would just hang out. The sunsets in DC were amazing, and the museums, the theaters in DC was something we were able to enjoy being in the capital. The 4th of July fireworks. We had Eid and Chandrat get-togethers. I participated in the Christmas and Thanksgiving celebrations where I cooked the gingerbread cookies with my friends. We celebrated Halloween and Easter celebrations. And I went bull riding. So you can, of course, ask questions at the end, except for whether or not the bull was real. I did create a PhD study group in case you are thinking that all I did was just have fun. So as you can see from the picture, even in the study group, we ended up eating more than studying. Throughout the experience, I think whether it was having fun or whether it was the academic experience, I had a lot of support from Fulbright, from my supervisors, and near the end, when I was about to have my defense, that is when the COVID started. And I basically had to do my defense online, which was a very unique and different experience. It was a lot less intimidating, I feel, having to do it on my computer screen rather than standing in front of a room full of people. The travel became a bit tricky. I had to wait for about 3 months for my flight. Then the convocation that got cancelled, which was a disappointment. There were dinners that were planned for the convocation, which we were not able to have those. but my supervisors did come to my place for the celebration, and I fixed Pakistani feast for them. So that again was a very unique and different experience. So in terms of what I have been now up to after I have returned. So I came back last July. What I have done since coming back is that I have formalized some partnerships. We are now a law firm offering legal and tax services. I created a collaboration, the firm created a collaboration with Anderson Global. Now, Anderson Global is the third largest legal presence at the moment and the largest presence in terms of tax services. So this is with Anderson Global, what I believe we have done is to lay the foundation of the first truly global law firm in Pakistan. I have set up a center called the International Center for Appropriate Dispute Resolution and Prevention. The idea being to institutionalize alternative dispute resolution in Pakistan. I am serving on 2 Prime Minister's committees relating to investment arbitration regime and international law. Since my SJD, I was the second Pakistani and the first woman to be appointed on the annulment committee of ICSID. And I have served as an arbitrator on this committee since I came back. And in terms of post-academic accomplishments is, of course, my publication of my 750-page book, which will be published by Kluwer Arbitration this June, inshallah. So with that, I would like to thank you for your very patient listening, and I would be happy to take any